Exclamation, everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings. For me, it is May the 3rd, Saturday night, May the 3rd. You'll be seeing this on May 4th, Sunday, as usual. Today I'm going to actually go out into the world here and try to find some bosses to fight. I believe there's one along the path here that I just looked at on the map. So we will be a little bit more fighting this episode and less far landing as we do things. It's as always. There's been quite a bit going on with me, with the channel, and also in the news. I have quite a few news articles here that I've been looking over and perusing that I figured I would bring into my podcast, my weekly podcast here. This is actually, if I were to look at this as a Cube World episode, which I tend to do, this is actually the, you know what? I completely forgot to, do I have enough flasks here? No, I don't. I forgot to buy empty flasks so I could make some health potions. Well, gotta walk back there and do that. This is actually technically the 41st episode of Cube World that I've done. So lots of stuff. I can't believe it's going that long, but this is the longest series I have ever done to date. And I'm enjoying it a lot. It's I'll be completely honest. I know that there's a lot of hate around the game. I still enjoy the game. This is why I come back to it every week. But I will admit that I probably wouldn't play it every single week unless, without having this vehicle upon which to, without using it as a vehicle upon which to have a podcast. If I didn't have this podcast going on, I would still play it. I'd still probably be playing it. But maybe not every week, not an hour every week like I do. But I have not grown tired of it. Let's put it that way. So I put out a channel update a few days ago. I think Thursday I put it up because I hadn't done one since January. And I wanted to just kind of give everybody a little rundown of where I'm at and what I'm doing and what's going on. And it gives some of the viewers a chance to give me some direct feedback without feeling like they're, encroaching on some other series that I'm doing. But basically, I'm trying to follow more of a YouTuber's schedule going forward. Which is to say, instead of doing one episode of every series that I have per week, I'm going to start going to a more traditional YouTube format where you do maybe 2 or 3 episodes a week. Probably not going to do 3 because that requires a level of attention that I probably don't have, unless it's a game that I've played entirely through before actually uploading any videos. Which it's a possibility, but it really depends because I have lots and lots of stuff that I play on a daily basis. So we'll see. Not completely opposed to it, but I'm at least going to try to start to do like 2 episodes a week of my series, of several series. Not all of them. Some of them just require far too much time, and some of them don't really lend themselves well to 2 times a week. For instance, I'll single out Soul Zero just for a moment and say that I enjoy the hell out of that game, and I'm still making lots of progress in it. But I don't feel like that's a game I could do twice a week. Me personally, I could record it twice a week, but I don't think the viewers would appreciate it twice a week. I think it's more special when it's once a week, because it can be a slog as far as just someone who's passively watching it, right? It's a precious gem when it's once a week. It may not be so much when it's twice a week. Another thing too is the Livecraft Mine server and Minecraft stuff in general. I will still keep that to once a week unless we do a special event like as I've done in the past, for instance the Abba Caving or the Wither fight. Then I'll do 2 a week, but for the most part that will be just 1 episode a week. Mostly because it requires a lot of grinding off camera, a lot of resource gathering, a lot of thought. I need to sort of refresh my brain from time to time and just figure out what I want to do next. And also I live stream from there fairly regularly, pretty much almost every week. I live stream from there, so I feel like I am doing twice a week there, as far as that goes. So that's why I'm kind of keeping that as a once a week thing. I decided to start with the twice a week with Ethereum because I actually sat down and, for crying out loud, you're probably hearing lots and lots of noise. That's my neighbors, for some reason, are being really noisy today. So I decided to start out with Ethereum because I had sat down and had quite a lot of recorded already, about maybe 2 hours of it recorded already. So I got like six episodes ready to go. So I figured that was the easiest bet because I had so much recorded already. I'm not straining myself. I'm not necessarily hampering other things, although kind of I am. But I'm doing it for other reasons, not necessarily for time reasons. So that's why I started with that. Some piece of feedback I got. It sounds like we're getting thunder as well. It's a very, very noisy day today for some reason. I'm in a pretty quiet community and it's been very, very noisy today. There was someone was mowing their lawn for like the last 6 hours or something. It was ridiculous. I waited until now when it was somewhat quieter, and you're already hearing a bunch of background noise probably. But one piece of feedback I got was perhaps I should start to do some AAA games, and that's absolutely correct. That's an absolutely correct, a very good piece of feedback that I received, because I do say often that I want a variety channel. I can't really claim that I have a variety channel if I stick just to indie games, although I stick to indie games because I get more interaction with the devs usually. But I also there's so many of them. They're coming out so frequently that it's very easy to find new stuff, right? The AAA games are very infrequent. They come out, maybe one a month or so, and mostly because they have a lot of, they're in production for two years or more, and I'm not in a position where I could get early access to those or anything like that. Basically when I'm playing it, by the time my videos go up, it'll be something that was played to death already, probably. But I figure I want it to be a variety channel, so I better start actually having a variety. So I've been thinking for the last couple of days, what games should I play? What AAA games should I play? Because technically speaking, Star Crusader is a AAA game. It's just a very, very old AAA game that very few people have played because it's kind of hard to get into. It's a hard game to really enjoy. It's got it's very, very, very dated. At the time it wasn't that dated, but it didn't take long for it to become dated. But I figured, something else that's a little bit more recent. I'm not gonna, I tried looking for the most recent AAA games out there that I could find, and honestly, the only ones I could find that I would really enjoy is Skyrim, which is really not that recent. Honestly, that's about a year old or so right now, and that's I would enjoy it, but that is let's put it this way: Zisto, a guy that I watch a lot and I subscribe to, he's still playing it a year later. He's like 100 some odd episodes. So I'm not really, I'm not feeling the whole very, very, very long play of that. I mean, let's put it this way. I played the hell out of Oblivion and I never finished it. Well, I finished the main quest line of Oblivion. But then I went back and started trying to do all the guild quests and trying to do all the achievement hunting, if you will. And I never finished that. And I was about, I don't even know how many hours I played. I played a lot of hours of that. If you look for Memory Leak Death on Xbox Live, you'll probably be able to see what my how many hours I played Oblivion for, as well as some of the other games I played. I probably should actually link that somewhere, because it's kind of important information, although it's I haven't been on my Xbox 360 in about a year, so it's very, very old information, and I don't see any reason for me to even go back to the Xbox 360, although I still have Halo 4 that I played literally the first mission for, and then I never got back to it again. So maybe I will revisit the 360 at some point. I have the ability to record it now because I have this DVR or HD PVR thingamajobber that I use for my Android games to record Android games. But I don't have a TV in this area in my office here where I would play it. You know what I mean? Where it'd be next to my computer, so I could record my voice and all that stuff. So it's that's the only thing really preventing me from doing that right now. And I have plans, as I've said many times, to improve my office here and try to get a new desk and get multiple monitors, probably multiple TVs instead of multiple, and use those as monitors, small TVs. Because if I'm going to do live streaming, that's really, if I want to continue doing live streaming, you really need that multiple monitor setup. So, but I need to get, a new desk before I do that, because I have a hutch here, and it's in this desk, and it's severely limits the size of the monitors that I can have here. So that's where that goes. Plus, I'm also thinking of potentially moving my recording area from the office here, where you hear I'm sure you've heard plenty of echoing from my in my videos, from my voice. That is because this is not a very good sound area. I have hardwood floors in here, and I have kind of an angled roof because there's no attic above my head. There's an attic in the rest of the house, but not here. This is sort of an expansion area. So it's not acoustically very good. However, I do have a spare bedroom that I don't use. It's just a library right now that I am potentially thinking of setting that up as my studio, if you will. Because I'll be able to put, there's nothing really in there except books, and I'll be able to put get a desk for it, and I've got an area rug in there. So, because I have hardwood floors throughout the house, but I put some area rugs in there, and I have like a tapestry hanging on the wall and stuff. So that's probably acoustically a lot better than where I'm at right now. Although I do really enjoy being in my office to do this stuff, but whatever. I digress. But I decided as I've stretched out enough. I've decided I was thinking about it for the last couple of days, what AAA games I would play. And I was actually on my live stream last night, Friday night for me, or Friday night for you guys, where I was on Livecraft Mine server, and a bunch of the LCMer guys joined me, and we're in chat, and we were chatting it up. And and I mentioned that I was trying to think of a AAA game to play, and my initial thought, and I have actually an article here too. My initial thought was to play No One Lives Forever, because I love that game, love the hell out of it. But it's again, it's an older game, and it's not. The graphics have not held up well. I mean, the graphics were pretty bad even when it was first released, but they're even worse now. So again, it would be like another Star Crusader type of thing. So I thought, well, what else can I do? And I was talking with Chaffee, actually, Chaffee Bean, and I mentioned that I had picked up Mirror's Edge. I think there was a Humble Origin bundle that was out many moons ago, and I picked up all the games in that bundle, and it had like Burnout Paradise, which I've played on the Xbox 360, and also it had Mirror's Edge, which I've also played on the Xbox 360. And I thought, hey, I like some of these titles here, and I've never played them on the PC, so why not? And then I remembered that I still had that, and I hadn't played it on the PC yet. And I thought, since I need a AAA game to play, Mirror's Edge would not be a bad game to jump into. So that's what I've done. I actually today spent about an hour and a half or so recording Mirror's Edge. Didn't get very far in it, to be honest, because I, as always, suck at all video games. But I was dying particularly frequently in this. But I have enough for 2 episodes done, so I'm thinking, and hopefully, this obviously Cube World will go up in the morning as it usually does. But I'm thinking later in the day, provided I can get the editing done tonight, which I think I will. It's not that late right now. I'm thinking of having Mirror's Edge, the first episode of my series on Mirror's Edge, go out right after Cube World here, go out in the nighttime. So that's, I gotta stop saying it's really bad. It's particularly bad right now. I'm trying to search for the correct words to use, and I keep doing that. Damn it, I did it again. So I'm going to be correcting myself all episode now. So I look forward. I hope you guys look forward to Mirror's Edge, because I am going to play that. I'm thinking that will be actually Saturday nights and Monday nights. Now, what that entails for my schedule. Obviously, pub crawl is on Monday nights. I'm thinking pub crawl is still going to stick around, although for whatever reason I got a downvote on my last Awesome Knots video, which is unusual for me, but I don't mind. It usually means I did something right. That's how I look at it. Anyway, it's very few actual downvotes I've ever gotten, so that was interesting. So maybe I'm doing a little too much Awesome Knots there, or I should be doing something else. But there are, pub crawl is going to stay around, because there are a bunch of games I do want to play that are multiplayer games. It's just that I may end up combining it with my Twitch stuff. So I may end up recording it from OBS, and then recording a live stream, I should say, and then chopping that up into pieces and just taking the highlights and say, okay, here's pub crawl, here's the highlights of my live stream, my last live stream where I did whatever game I would be playing. And there's a couple multiplayer games that have caught my attention that I really want to dig into. I just have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it to do it. And that's what I will do. So that's where that stands. So that will stay. I'm not sure what I kind of feel like I should bump pub crawl to later in the night. So right now I try to upload during the week at my slot is 7 p.m. usually. Sometimes a little bit earlier than that. Depends on Whether or not, it really depends on when I get home from work, because there's no set time when that happens. And I'm thinking of putting Mirror's Edge at the 7 p.m. slot, and then introducing the 10 or 11 p.m. slot. I'm going to say 11 p.m., but it's probably going to be more like 10 p.m. 10 p.m. slot on Monday nights would be pub crawl then. So that way you can see Mirror's Edge at nighttime, and then maybe watch pub crawl the next morning for, while you're eating a breakfast or whatever. These are tentative things, but that's what I'm really thinking in terms of that. So hopefully that will all work out well. And then I might as well spill the beans too. I'm going to do Mirror's Edge. I'm going to play it all the way through, and I have pre-ordered Watch Dogs. So, because I've heard a lot of good stuff about that, a lot of stuff that makes me interested in it anyway. So I'm going to hopefully be playing Watch Dogs as well. This whole AAA thing is going to be an interesting thing for me, because it's there are lawyers involved usually when it comes to AAA games and AAA titles, and that's the only reason I've kind of stayed away from them. So I will say ahead of time, if you see ads on any of my videos, feel free to use ad blocker, because more than likely what's going to happen is when I start playing these AAA games like that, I'm going to start getting content ID claims that I really can't do anything about usually. I mean, usually if it's an audio claim, I can do something about it. I can mute the music. But when you get to these AAA games, a lot of times they'll claim visual content that was just like 5 seconds from one of their trailers. Like they have like a 30-second trailer, and you happen to play the portion of the game that was 5 seconds of worth of some of that trailer. They'll claim that, and they'll claim your entire video for monetization. So feel free to enable, if you do see ads on my stuff, feel free to enable ad block, because I do not make any money off of YouTube, and neither should they. They should not make money off of my hard work. But that's a larger debate. That's a much larger debate. Anyway, let's get down to the actual podcasty part of this instead of the vloggy part of this, because I had a very long vloggy episode last time. Let's get to the more podcasty stuff, and let's talk about some games. Now, I have some articles that I've clipped out, and I want to talk about. First of all, apparently EA, in conjunction with Comcast, are possibly looking at doing a game streaming service on Comcast's highfalutin X1 boxes, which are their latest generation boxes that support cable boxes that support various apps and voice control and cloud-based DVR, and I'm sure it probably makes coffee for you at some point in time, although the coffee probably tastes terrible. And through this, the thought is that they would start streaming, like you'd be able to purchase games, and sort of like Steam type of thing, but in the same vein as like a pay-per-view type of thing. So I don't know I don't know what the implications of that are, but they're thinking of like Madden NFL series, the FIFA soccer series, Plants vs. Zombies. So they're getting some of the casual stuff in there. And you would stream these games down and to the box, and you would use your tablets as a control scheme. It sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of ifs there, and it's touted as sort of tying or dovetailing into their pay-per-view service, which bothers me a little bit, because we're not talking Steam here where you buy a game and it's yours. This sounds more and more like you buy 30 minutes on a game and you get to stream for 30 minutes or something like that. This is kind of what it sounds like. I mean, when you get these big cable conglomerates into stuff, they are going to nickel and dime the hell out of you, and it feels like that's what they're probably going to do. I don't know that for sure. I have no sources that say that, but if I were a betting man, I would say that they're probably going to do something like, hey, you can play Madden NFL, but you can only play for 30 minutes at a time, or you can only play one versus game or something like that, and then you pay per game or per season game that you want to play. That's the only thing I can think of. Plus, I mean, we're talking EA as well, one of the most hated companies in America and possibly the world, with Nintendo as number 2, I guess. So yeah, I'm predicting shady stuff here with that. But I will link you to the full Polygon article as usual, as I always do. And I was speaking a little bit earlier about No One Lives Forever. I've been thinking about playing that game again and recording it. And I wanted to see if there were mods for it to maybe make it HD and stuff. Well, I might not have to go searching around for mods, because it sounds like Night Drive Studios has filed for trademarks for and here's a couple of the trademarks that they're filing for: The Operative, No One Lives Forever, A Spy in Harm's Way, and Contract Jack. Now, those of you who have played or are familiar with the No One Lives Forever series. No One Lives Forever, by the way, an FPS game set in like a 60s, like a comedic 60s spy game. It was basically a riff on James Bond. Very, very funny game. Very cool game, honestly. The graphics and stuff don't hold up well, and they didn't hold up well even then. But it's still a very, very cool game to play. It was developed by Monolith, which is now owned by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. But you can't buy any of those games anywhere anymore, because nobody could figure out who had the rights to any of the games in order to distribute them. It was thought that the rights lied with Fox Interactive and Sierra Entertainment, because they are the ones that published No One Lives Forever and Contract Jack and a few of the other ones. I think Fox Interactive published No One Lives Forever and No One Lives Forever 2, A Spy in Harm's Way, and I think Sierra Entertainment published Contract Jack, I believe, which is the prequel to all of them. I haven't played NOLF 2 or Contract Jack, but I might. I had ambitions to do it back in the day. I just never pulled the trigger on it. So this Night Drive Studios, it sounds like they might be getting geared up to potentially re-release them, maybe even remake them in HD. Or I would imagine they would be in HD anyway. That would be rather awesome, and I would play the hell out of them. Night Drive Studios is not a stranger to it either. This is why all the speculation is coming around it. They have resurrected some of the other classic games like System Shock 2 and The Seventh Guest. They made them sort of the HD remakes of them and allow you to play them on much more modern systems. So hey, I am all for that. I cannot wait. I hope that this is all good things and tons of playability will be in my future, I hope. And then since I frequent Kickstarter a lot, this article sort of popped up in my brain cells, and I figured I'd talk about it. The Washington State Attorney General is suing a Kickstarter project for not delivering on their goods. Now, this Kickstarter project in particular was for physical goods, not electronic goods, but this might have some implications even for the electronic goods category. So I kind of want to talk about this a little bit. There was, back in 2012, a Kickstarter project for Asylum playing cards. It's a company by the name of, what was it? Atlas or Altius Management was a company that was made back in September of 2012, and then they had a Kickstarter in December of that year, and they're making some kind of custom playing cards called Asylum playing cards. And they had raised like $25,146 out of the $15,000 that they had wanted for it, and had like 810 backers. 31 of those have been identified from being from Washington State. And one thing led to the other, and the estimated delivery date on those, I'm sorry, the Kickstarter must have been earlier. The estimated delivery date on those cards was supposed to be December of 2012. That never happened. It never materialized. And to this day, no one who participated in that Kickstarter has seen a dime or a physical copy of anything that they were promised. So the state attorney general for Washington has decided to take them on and sue them and attempt to get something like $2,000 per claimant, I guess, per class action. So for the 31 people from Washington State, each one of them would potentially get about $2,000, back from this whole fiasco and debacle and all that stuff. This has some reaching implications, I think. Now, I can understand it with the physical goods not being delivered on physical goods. I can see how the government got involved with that. What worries me is digital goods, because it's I mean, I can see both perspectives. I can see the perspective of, hey, you kickstart something, you want to see something in return. But I'm worried that it's not. I'm worried about the precedent it's setting, because when you kickstart something, it's basically a donation. I mean, pretty much a donation. There is no guarantee at all that you will get anything from it. Now, of course, there are terms of service in Kickstarter that say that, Kickstarter, people who start Kickstarter projects need to deliver on their goals, and otherwise it's a violation of terms, which is what the Attorney General is using as his fuel for the fire, is that there was a violation of Kickstarter's terms of agreement. But what I'm concerned with is it sort of puts this idea in people's heads that they're buying something from Kickstarter, and that's not really the case. I mean, you in a perfect world, yes, you put you plunk $20 down on a Kickstarter project. The Kickstarter project is successful, and then you get a video game or physical good from it eventually when it's developed and designed. That's the perfect world. The fact is, though, we're in a very imperfect world, and what you really put money down on is a pipe dream. And you're just hoping, it's a donation. You're donating to say, I would like you to make this. I hope that you make this. I hope that you are successful with this. And I hope that you will give me something to show for my donation. If we start getting into this pattern of, no, you're actually buying something, you're putting this money down to actually buy something, I find that we're probably going to be in some very, very gray areas that are not going to pan out well for a lot of devs, especially software devs who are doing Kickstarter things and video game devs. Because what stops someone from saying, I was promised something December of 2012 and nothing was delivered, and suing for it, when in fact, it's just the software was just delayed. It's harder to say that now with this particular project, because obviously 2012, it's been a couple of years, so at some point something has to be delivered. But I'm afraid that, and I'm afraid that, you know, software is delayed all the time. Games are delayed all the time. It's just the fact of life. It's, you get in there, your head's down, you're writing code, and then all of a sudden, you know, something happens and nothing's working right. And it takes months and months to fix bugs that shouldn't take that long normally, but it's just you're absolutely stuck. You know, there's no reason to be stuck. You're just stuck. This happens. This is the normal course of working on anything that involves software development. Delays happen. So I'm worried that people will get sort of antsy and go, "Oh, I didn't get something, you know, exactly when it was promised, you know, 2 years ago, or no, exactly when it was promised, like from the very first Kickstarter, before any code had been written." And it's just, that can get very messy. Number one, that can delay it for everybody. Number two, and then number three, what happens on the edge case where somebody goes, "The game that I expected to buy was not the one that was delivered. It's different. It's been scaled down, or it's been expanded upon, or it's not quite the storyline that I thought it would be," or so on and so forth. And, you know, false advertising and all this stuff. And it's like, oh man, you're just opening up this whole big can of worms, man. You know, on one hand, yes, I feel bad for those people that they did not get their Kickstarter rewards. I feel bad for the people in video games as well, who you know, kickstarted some video games and didn't get those as well, or weren't backed, you know, properly, or whatever the case may be. I'm very fearful that this will get out of hand. We're opening up Pandora's box here. And I think the message we really need to be sending people is, Kickstarter is a pipe dream. It is very much a pipe dream. You are donating to a developer in the hopes that they will be trustworthy and deliver upon their promises, right? I mean, what happens if you, I mean, let's take an even more practical approach to it. What happens if you kickstart a game and 5 months into development of the game, it was just a single developer, we'll just say it's a single developer, or maybe just 2 developers or whatever, and 5 months into the game, the lead developer gets hit by a bus, dies. What happens then? Right? There's going to be people who are like, "Oh, I want my money back. I want my money back for all that." And it's like, but you didn't really buy the game. You were buying the dream of the game, right? You were buying the pipe dream. And you know, crap happens. It's just the way it goes. You can't, you know, you should not part with money that you can't part with, right? It's gambling pretty much. And you know, I just can't imagine, you know, what happens if, you know, if they get hit by a bus or something and they can't possibly deliver, and their partner that was with them was not a developer. He was just a marketing guy or something like that. You know, it just opens up Pandora's boxes that I don't think we can afford to have opened at this moment, in this juncture, we're at this height of indie development, I think, and it frightens me to see that we might be hampering it before it's even really gotten out of the gate. You know what I mean? So that's what I have to say about that. Let's see. I only have a few more minutes here to talk about a few things. I had another article here about the Oculus Rift stuff. They're getting sued by ZeniMax, or they're getting legally threatened. They haven't gotten sued yet. They're getting legally threatened by ZeniMax, and it's because of, and this happens a lot in software development. John Carmack had allegedly talked to the head of Oculus VR. What was his name? Palmer Luckley. And had talked to him while he was still developing VR stuff at the University of Southern California. And apparently had written some software for him while, Carmack did, while he was, they had a prototype at the University of Southern California, and while Carmack was still in the employ of ZeniMax, which ZeniMax owns id Software and all those various other companies. So he was employed by them. They're the parent company. And it's a no-no to do that. I know as a software developer, I sign a lot of agreements that say companies own every piece of thought in my mind. Every random thought that I have in my mind, a company owns at some point in time, and they can claim ownership for, which is why I don't use my real name on the internet. I use this pen name, namely Memory Leak. But it's from what Carmack has said, he says that there currently is no code that he has written, no lines of code that he has written currently exist in the Oculus Rift. He said that on Twitter. So we'll see. This can get ugly. This is where lawyers and special investigators start looking at poring over code and looking at agreements and various other things to try to get to the bottom of who said what, and he said this, and there was some errant email that did this, and all that stuff. It's messy. It's very messy. And literally, there are agreements that you end up signing that you pretty much have to sign. I mean, as a developer, you really don't have a choice. Everywhere you go, you sign some kind of agreement that says, in no uncertain terms, that a company can claim every thought you have in your brain as their own. And you can't, if you start making money off of it. And of course, that is the key here, right? Is that Facebook bought Oculus, which now got ZeniMax going, hey, they now have $2 billion in the bank, because they were probably going to wait until Oculus actually went out to the consumers and started making money. But no, Oculus has already started making money because they got bought by Facebook. So hey, we're ZeniMax. We're going to make some money off of this. We're going to require some licensing agreements because money is being made now due to it. So, and this happens. Companies do this all the time. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully everything works out well for Oculus, because it looks like a very cool concept. I hate to see it die in its incubation stage. But we'll see. There's a lot of weird things going on there now with Facebook and all that stuff. So, anywho, I think that'll just about do it for this episode. I still had more things I wanted to talk about and some Kickstarter stuff, but there's a bunch of titles got greenlit too that I wanted to talk about, but we'll save that for next week. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next Sunday.